Well, hello there, everybody. How are you doing today? Hope you are all rocking and rolling and just doing fantastic. So today we're talking about guitars. A studio must have guitars. You know, I'm going to do a video about studio gear, but I think that these are just guitars that offer a very unique voice and, you know, just have like a very requested sound to them, I guess is a good way to put it. And this video is a great way for me to justify to my wife that I totally need these guitars. We're not going to tell her the truth. So let's jump into these. I would be curious to know what you think. Do you disagree with my list? I'm going to view it more as like a rock kind of perspective, of course, as always. But of course, I do have like an 8-string and a baritone, so those could also be essential if you were doing more heavy detuned stuff. But like I said, you never know if you are a working musician, what someone could ask you for a session and all that good stuff. So let's just go ahead and jump into these and let's get cooking. Number one on this list, and these are not ranked in importance by any means, but it's a Tele. You know what? I think that you gotta have a Tele. A Tele is an extremely versatile guitar that I really think can kind of do everything from the more rhythmy stuff, like what I was just playing, or, you know, you can, kick the gain up. And I should say that I'm playing through my Friedman BE50 Deluxe today. For all the guitars, settings will be all the same. But, you know, like I said, you have this guitar, and it handles rhythm because it's so clear. It sits really, really well. I think a Les Paul and a Telecaster is one of the best combinations in a guitar track. You know, they sit and they complement each other in the best ways possible. This is a very, thick but yet bitey sound, and Les Paul's a thick but darker sound, and I don't know, they mesh together so good. You can do cleans with it, just with it. I'm not a huge fan. The Tele is not my go-to guitar for cleans as far as like the Hendrixy, kind of. Oh, maybe if I'd buy it. I don't really view a Tele as that kind of guitar for me. That ventures more into the Strat, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But you can do the cleans. By all means, it has a great sound. I think cleans more on the bridge. If you want that country. I'm not a country player, so please excuse the lack of country ability. But I think it can also kind of handle doing leads really, really well. I think its standout to me is rhythm, but for leads, it gets right in there with them. Oh, maybe if I had it on. So yeah, I think a Tele is it's so versatile. It totally has a unique sound to it, and it's one that you just gotta have. And I'm looking right at you, Tony, right at you. The good old Stratocaster. Now, again, this is another one of those, it's just such an important guitar. For exactly, in my opinion, what I was just playing, it handles it the best, for me anyways, is that kind of, just cleans in general. I think a Strat is so versatile. You can have just the neck pickup. Like, for me, when I'm facing the studio lights in here, it's a little bit more difficult because they make single coils buzz pretty bad, so I tend to, when I'm doing videos, I hover around position 4 and 2, which will cancel the hum. But typically there are 3, possibly 4 main settings of this 5-way switch for me with a Strat. I almost never use the middle position. I use the neck by itself a lot. You know, it just has amazing cleans. Oh, don't do that. But if I have it here, it's a little bit too bright. So, you know, that's the neck pick, which is that you can hear the studio lights are pretty bad for that. Position 4 gets rid of it, which is, you know, a very good one. I'm not sure what key I was thinking. I just like started playing and didn't think about what I was gonna play. Which to me is a very like Stevie Ray Vaughan kind of sound. Now position 2 is to me one of the most quintessential Strat sounds. That very plucky sound. I wind my middle pickup all the way down, so I usually don't have the best position 2 sound or position 4. I tend to use more the neck than anything else. It's just because I can't pick with that pickup there. It gets in my way and I'm always clunking around and hitting it. But you still get some of it out of it. In Strats in the past, what I did was I put a hotter middle pickup in there because I wind it so low, and that made up for it. These are still the ones that came with this guitar. But that is like when I think of a Strat, that is literally like the neck pickup in position 2 is what I think of when I think of a Strat. The bridge, I've never been in love with a Strat bridge. This one is no exception. I'm liking it more and more now. This tone control, it's too bright when it's all the way on, you know. A little bit much there. But you roll it down a little bit, and it's nice. So this tone control is wired just to this pickup, and then this one is for these two. It works really good. Like I have a higher gain setting here, so you can hear. See, there the bridge sounds good with more gain. So I think it sounds good there. The neck is not my favorite on higher gain. Not just this higher gain, just in general. So like I said, each guitar really just has a purpose for me when I'm playing it, because I like the neck sound with that crunch. It retains that crispness a little bit more. And one thing I should say on Strats, to me, in my opinion, which makes a Strat sound better, but it's always up for debate, of course, but is I like to have the bridge, I wind it out, like all the way flush. I keep it against the body. I think it just makes the guitar sound better. I don't use the tremolo arm on a Strat too much, but there's some people who are amazing at it and, you know, keep that floating, because that is also part of a Strat sound. I just like the way a Strat sounds better with it, you know, hardtailed if possible. But if, you know, obviously this isn't a hardtail, but I will dock it against the body, and I just think that it helps the guitar a little bit. Now this one is not what you're thinking of. I'm not so much referencing a PRS here. I'm playing a PRS because this is what this guitar does for me. But this, you know, the job of this guitar could easily be done by your Strat or something like that. Like I said before, I like a Strat to have the bridge docked against the body, and it, you know, obviously you can't really have it floating and get that nice tremolo sound. This guitar legitimately has one of the best sounding and best feeling tremolos I've ever had on a guitar. I said it, I think, when I got the guitar. I'm still so impressed with the thing. It stays in tune. The coil taps are, again, some of the best I've heard on a guitar. I like this neck pickup. I use it more than anything. It can do rhythm and all that, but I view it honestly as a lead guitar when I'm using the bridge pickups, because they're pretty hot. And this neck, when it splits, it just sounds phenomenal, especially when the volume's turned on. It sounds a little bit more full than a Strat, and that's why I like having the tremolo with it. It kind of gives it that modulation. It just has it, man. any of these, I'm not referring to the brand itself. You know, you could have another version of these guitars. I'm just going with what's the most common version of them. But like I said, for me, this guitar, even as impressive as it sounds with distortion, I'll play with distortion for a second here for you. It sounds great. It sounds really good. It sounds good with the higher gain stuff. So that is where this one sits in the whole grand scheme of things. Like I said, I just recommend finding a very good tremolo guitar. I don't necessarily recommend a Floyd Rose guitar as a studio must-have. I think they're great. I have plenty of Floyd Rose guitars. I love them so much. But I do think, you know, if you're working with tuning into different tunings, drop tunings, you know, tuning up, open tunings, all that kind of stuff, man, a Floyd Rose is a nightmare for anything other than whatever it's locked in. So if you are maybe a person who only records in standard tuning, a Floyd Rose could be your tremolo guitar. But like for me, this guitar holds tune extremely well. The bridge works really well, and I think the guitar sounds great. You know, so for me, that's what this guitar is. It's really the tremolo guitar. It can do it all if I want it to, but to me, its standout feature, oddly enough, is the tremolo and that split neck pickup. I don't know why it's so good, but it just is, and that's, you know, where this guitar, if I need something like that, I'm like, okay, PRS. Alrighty, now this is of course a special one. Some of you guys will already know what this is. This is my 1989 Gibson Les Paul Standard. Me and this guitar are both 89ers, the 89 kids at heart, and it has, you know, slowly taken over, if I'm being honest. Since I got this guitar in December for Christmas, it has slowly been taking over. Now it's in its first form from when I had two Duncan Antiquity pickups in there, and the neck is still a Duncan Antiquity. It sounds amazing. I don't know why I can't turn the volume on. It sounds very, very good. The bridge pickup I did not like. I actually got a Friedman Classic P90 and put it in it, and that was exactly what the guitar needed. From that point on, the guitar started taking over. The Friedman pickup sounded so much better than the Duncan that was in there. And it works really, really well with the bridge. The bridge is this kind of like smooth, creamy P90, and this is a pretty aggressive one, you know, in that bridge. Kind of like some snarl and nasal to it. But especially if you turn the gain up a little bit. Oh God, it's right there, man. This guitar just gets me. But anyways, so like I said, a P90 Les Paul. Now I've had my other Les Paul for a very, very long time, which you guys will see here in a minute, and you know it's going to be in this list. But it is something special with a P90 Les Paul. I'm going to show you a P90 Telecaster as well in this one, because I think these sound very different for both being P90 loaded guitars. If you could only have one Tele, I would maybe go P90 Tele over a traditional one. I think it can still get you that Tele twang, but it covers a little bit more, especially when you tune this thing down. This guitar is actually darker sounding than my Les Paul, but you guys know how much I love that vintage T as well. So I'll play it here in a minute in this little clip. I just thought I could pair those together because they're both P90s. But yeah, there is a huge difference between a Les Paul with humbuckers and a Les Paul with P90s, and such a great, great sound. It is actually, I think a double Les Paul track isn't my favorite unless it's one Les Paul's P90s, because this is a brighter sound, and then one Les Paul with humbuckers. This is very much a like a fatter, thicker sounding telly, basically, is what this guitar is to me. It gets in there. Lots of twang, lots of bite. You know, and it has that just kind of that Les Paul swagger that you expect it to have. And it's a very comfortable guitar if you're used to Les Pauls. If you're not used to them, you know, they can be uncomfortable. I'm sure, just like a Strat can be uncomfortable to someone. But this guitar is an everything guitar for me. My other Les Paul, I've always said, is more of a rhythm guitar. And I think part of that is to do with the 70s frets are low. It's not the best lead playing guitar. I think it sounds incredible. But this guitar, now this one I like to do everything on. I think rhythms sound great, leads sound good on this one. It's an easy guitar to play, and I love it so much. It is one of those like top 3 guitars for me. There you have it. Oh, the Old Faithful, my number one. Of course, my Les Paul KM is going to be in here. So I'm not saying that you need to have a Les Paul. I just think a single cut, you know, Les Paul style with humbuckers is a very crucial component. Again, has that unique sound to it. It's the sound that a lot of others are, you know, simply trying to emulate. So with this one, you know, it's a total rhythm guitar for me. This is, I've written more songs on this guitar than any other guitar that I own. It just, we connect. You know, it's weird. I don't understand it. If I'm like crunched for time and someone needs something done, and I have the time available, I'm just like, all right, I got to get this done. This is the guitar I grab. This is the one that I know I'm just like, all right, I need to get something done. I don't have time to fiddle around with it. I'm like, get the Les Paul out. I grab it, boom, we're off, you know, right away. And that's, you know, that can be any guitar for someone. You know, this just happens to be the Les Paul for me. But it's, you know, it's about finding that guitar that can give you that instant mojo, that instant kind of inspiration to just like run with an idea. And that's what this guitar does for me. You know, it's so easy. I can just sit there. I know I was playing some ZZ Top, but I can sit here with this guitar and just riff and write. You know, I could come with something. I'd be like. Boom, this is already like, you know, turning into something. So something like, you know, that could be an idea. You know, and I'm like, okay, then turn the gain on. Da-da-da-da. Whatever it might be, but like I said, it just, this guitar, this guitar just connect. So that's where a Les Paul sits for me. But aside from that, I just think it's an important guitar to have. Like, this one sounds good. The neck pickup sounds fine on it. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of neck pickups being a humbucker. If it's a single coil, I get along with it so much more. This one, like I said, I think it sounds great. Use my fingers. It's that's me where this guitar is at. It's that bridge. Oh, buddy, the new kid on the block here. But I guess the Strat's the new one, but this is like I've never had a guitar like this one before, and what a sound this guitar has. I have been completely blown away with this guitar because of how thick and full it sounds. If I play this guitar for a while and I switch to any other guitar, it sounds small. It is weird how big and how fat these notes sound on this guitar, and it has this, like, for some reason this guitar, the tone makes me want to use a fuzz pedal with it. So I don't know if that's a common thing, maybe in like rock or something. But that's what this guitar makes me want to do. The clean's phenomenal. Even these crazy hot humbuckers, these are called dirty finger pickups, that are super hot. They sound so good. Doing some of those Sean Tubb licks. You know, again, it's just, you flip that on, and the notes, not with this setting. This amp is a little bit too hot right now, but with the Rev or something like that, it has that Clapton-y kind of sound to it. It still kind of has that roundness to it, but it's weird, like you get used to the round, that thick round sound of these notes. And you go to any other guitar, I go to my Les Paul, and I'm like, wow, you sound small now. Especially the way like the notes clash on this guitar, particularly. Just the way they sound, almost muddy, but like in a good way. Saved it there at the end. I was about to clam it up, and I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, like I said, and it's a very easy guitar to play. But yeah, this guitar just has such a sound that I didn't realize I was missing. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Hope you guys, enjoyed this video. If you want to, you can subscribe or something like that. Like I said, I'd be really interested to know what your kind of go-to studio guitars are. Leave them down in the comments, and I will be checking yours out. And if you have videos, leave comments below with your studios or something like that. That'd be really cool to see everyone's guitar collections. But other than that, guys, I'm gonna bounce on out of here. Hopefully you enjoyed this, like I said, and until next time, yo, get your fingers out and get bending them strings. Ooh, bye, guys. Whoop.